Hey Rockets, it's Mrs. Wilkenbush. Looks kind of gloomy in my office today because it's kind of rainy outside. So I'm glad I'm in reading stories with you. Hey, today we are continuing our book club study on Masterminds by Gordon Korman. We are doing chapter 8. Here we go. Malik Bruder. I don't have many good things to say about Happy Valley, New Mexico, but here's one. We don't get a lot of thunderstorms, which does me no good tonight because this is a big one. The flashes light up the town like it's high noon, and the crashes are beyond just loud. You feel them inside your skull. The worst part is I'm sitting on my bed, rocking back and forth, praying for it to be over. And I know that Hector, who's afraid of moths, loves electrical storms. Well, he must be thrilled tonight because this is blowing the lid off of New Mexico. It finally dies out after midnight. But before I can calm down and go to sleep, we get a telephone call. Dad's the only doctor in town, so this must be a medical emergency. I stick my head into the hall. I can almost feel the wind from my dad hustling into his clothes behind the master bedroom door. And my parents' whispered conversation sounds more like shouting. I'm dying to know what's going on. Something's up, something big. The door flies open and I catch my father's parting words to my mom. By the time we get through with him, it'll be the truth. He wheels around, and that's when he sees me standing there. Go back to bed, Malik. Who's sick? I suppose you'll hear about it tomorrow anyway. It's Eli Frieden. Is it bad? I ask. It's not good. He's had a relapse of his recent illness. I can tell it's not good. Dad's leaving the house without one of his dumb bow ties, which happens about once per millennium. It usually takes an outbreak of the plague for that. Is it serious? He's not going to die if that's what you mean, my father replies. I have to go. My mother wraps her arms around me as the door closes downstairs. Don't worry, honey. I'm sure your friend will be fine. I bristle. What planet are you living on, Mom? I am not his nursemaid. I'm not even his friend. I hate everybody equally. She's used to me. You're all close friends, all 30 of you. 29, but who's counting? I mumble. Oh, I forgot about Randy. She hugs me tighter. That must have been very upsetting to you. I already told you it wasn't. And now this on top of that. Even if we lived in the city without millions of mothers in it, mine would still be the most annoying. I just want to twist out of her suffocating embrace. But I don't, because she has a point. I shouldn't care about Eli. But I do. What choice do I have? In Happy Valley, we're basically stuck with each other. The next day at school, Stanley Cole and Melanie Brandt are trading purple people eater cards, Rumple L. Stiltskin for sunshine, plus dodecahedron face. I'm totally blown away. Why? Stiltskin's worth too, Stanley explains. He performs photosynthesis. So does your lawn, I point out. I like dodecahedron face, says Melanie. I see him near my house sometimes. He's cute. Cute, Tori challenges. His head is shaped like a dodecahedron. What is a dodecahedron? I ask irritably. Wait, scratch that. I don't care. Listen, Frieden's not coming to school today. He had a relapse of his pukey last night. Is it serious? Tori probes. I shrug dramatically. Dad finally rolled in this morning while I was still getting ready for school. If there was bad news, he would have told me then. Well, the Purples didn't have to drag him home this time. He was already home. Amber shoots me a disapproving look. You don't have to be so mean about it. Lighten up, I shoot back. He's not dead. He probably just wishes he was. Hector's uncertain. Your dad never figured out what was wrong with Eli the first time around. I glare at him. Are you saying my father's a lousy doctor? He backs off. No, Malik, not at all. It's just, if we don't know what it is, how do we know if it isn't contagious? That's right. Hector, think about yourself, Amber scolds. Remember, community is sharing. That's what I'm worried about, Hector defends himself. I don't want him to share it with me. Malik, what does your dad say Say it is. None of your business, I grumble. He doesn't talk about patience. Dad's exact words were, by the time we get through with him, it'll be the truth. That sounds more like a threat than a diagnosis. But doctors don't go around threatening patients. Mostly it makes no sense at all. Randy, Tori whispers resentfully. We stare at her. What are you talking about? Amber asks. Randy left 2 weeks ago. What could he have to do with Eli getting sick now? She hesitates, like she's struggling over whether or not to tell us. Once she starts singing, though, it's real opera. He left a letter for Eli that really freaked him out. He says he isn't with his grandparents. He's been shipped off to some boarding school. He thinks that there's some kind of plot going on in Serenity. Or maybe it's not a plot. It's just weird. His exact words, something screwy. The longer she goes on, the more upset she gets. And it's all because some of us are supposed to be special. Special how? Asks Amber in bewilderment. It's a goof, I snort, laughing enough. Hardaway was always a wingnut, and this was his way of leaving us with something to remember him by. What a doofus. But Eli refuses to believe that, Tori tells us. He thinks there is something going on in Serenity, and we all could be in danger. And now look what's happened to him. You don't get sick from being upset, Hector insists. Something has to be really wrong with you. We have squatting and mumbling first that day, which is what I call meditation. I make fun of it, but it's actually my favorite subject in school. We can argue with a class where we can argue with a class where you do nothing. I'm sorry, who can argue with a class where you do nothing, there's no assignments, and it's impossible to prove you didn't finish your homework? But as I sit cross-legged on my carpet square that day, I'm meditating for real, or just thinking pretty hard. Just because Hardaway's a joker doesn't necessarily mean he's joking now. I don't know any special people, and I couldn't care less if he's at a boarding school or a farm or on the surface of Pluto. But those words, something screwy, ring a bell with me. Ever since the day Hector bled all over the shipment of traffic cones, I've been keeping an eye on those trucks. I swear I saw dusty, crusty stains on one of them yesterday. And am I imagining things? Or is that the same load of cones? What could be the point of driving a shipment of cones around town for all these weeks possibly be? Screwy! After meditation, Mrs. Laska announces, let's each of us think of a message we'd like to put on Eli's Get Well card. All right, feel better, man. But what I really want to say is, be careful, Eli. I don't like what my father said. And maybe Randy's not much of a wingnut after all. What if I've spent so much of my life complaining about how small and boring one-horse Serenity is that I've missed the forest for the trees? This place is messed up, and nobody knows it better than me. That's the end of chapter 8. I'll see you next time.